Well, actually, the way I remember it, and can I get into that video that you had brought that night? Is that okay?
Oh, absolutely. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah. The way I remembered it was, I remember early on in the evening, you had presented a video to us that you had, a home video that you had taped the previous night, and I know you had always, we had, the discussions of, the things in the sky and, the biblical references. That had been something all season, and I'd always been, interested whether or not I never accept something wholly, without investigating, but, it was something that I'd always kept in the back of my mind, and I was very intrigued, and we had many conversations about the topic. But I remember, you would come in with a video, and, the video, it was very difficult to distinguish what it was, and if it was just a video and that was all we had seen, it would have been something that would be in the back of my mind but wouldn't have had a real big impact on me. And it was, like you had described the strobing lights. I believe you shot it over the water outside your house out east on Long Island.
That's correct.
Mm-hmm. And, we looked at it, and you could tell from the video, at least listening to yourself talk and your interactions with your wife, that, something was happening, and it was something that was making you very nervous, and, it was something that something important to you, and that's why you were documenting it, and, you were, it wasn't just, you wouldn't be documenting it if it was just lights in the sky. It meant something more to you. So we could all tell that the video, at least in your eyes, was something legitimate, but again, it could just be lights in the sky, so no one, we accepted it but took it as that. But then we'll get to what you said was later on, so that happened. We looked at it on the computer, and, everyone said, oh, that's interesting. But I think the big impact was later when someone presented that, hey, there's something in the sky, and that something in the sky was eerily reminiscent of the video that you had just shown us. And I think at that point, people started to realize, this, I'm not a believer that coincidences really happen as much as things happen for a reason. So I think at that point, everyone knew that, maybe something different was happening here and something was up. And I know the reactions by the crew just to that thing in the sky, that it did not seem like just typical lights. And there were, I'm not an expert on what lights in the sky mean, but it definitely seemed like something different was happening out there that night.
Right. And Steve, what was your reaction to what we saw that night?
Well, I'd like to start with the video as well.
Okay.
So you showed us the video, and I don't think the video would have had the impact it had if we hadn't had the experience we had later on that night. If I hadn't had that experience later on, I would have just said just another low-quality, grainy UFO video or something like that, But
right.
The fact that what you showed us and what we saw later in the night was exactly the same thing. Like, clearly. It was unexplainable. It clearly wasn't an airplane or a helicopter or anything earthbound, I guess, flying in the sky. And it wasn't, a distant planet or star flickering. Clearly. It was...
And how did you feel? How did you feel during that period?
Well, the video was kind of freaky. It sent some chills up my spine. But that was probably, and then I didn't really think too much more about it. And then we were inside shooting later on, and I guess everyone came out, but I think I was the last one out. I think I stayed in and I was still shooting something. And then Brendan came back in to get me, and he said, Steve, do you want to see the UFO outside? Or do you want to see the spaceship? And I was like, what? Come on, And then I walked outside, and sure enough, the pulsating lights in the distance, but not that far in the distance. Probably, I don't know, within a few miles away. And since we were working right next to an airport and planes fly by constantly, it was clearly not a plane. That much I'm sure of.
Right. And, how did it affect you? I know while we were there, I'm just going to fill the audience in, while we were there were other crew members who were deeply affected by this. And one of the gentlemen had complained that he started feeling strange inside, almost like his soul was being sucked out. he had explained that he had previous out-of-body experiences. I don't know if people are familiar with that, but out-of-body experiences are basically these, it's almost like a dream-like state where you're lifting up from your body and you can see your body and you're kind of going off away from the self. So, but he had those in the past, and this is what he felt was happening to him as he was staring at this thing. He had to turn away. So I didn't know if either of you guys felt that, or an eerie feeling, or what did you feel? Go ahead, either one of you.
I guess I'll chime in here. I mean, I guess I just like anything else new that I wasn't familiar with. You know, I sort of had that feeling of like uncertainty, I guess, would be the best. Whether or not I don't know if I was necessarily scared. I know the general consensus was it was eerie, and people tend to get scared immediately when something eerie comes. I don't know that I was necessarily scared, but it was definitely something that I didn't know about. And when I don't know about something and I'm unfamiliar with it, I want to know more about it. So it piques a curiosity and a wonder. And that's and Greg had always been filling us in with his knowledge of this kind of stuff. And so I mean, I guess it just made me curious. But I definitely there's some worry. Whenever there's something that you're not familiar with, there's always that potential worry of danger. But at the same time, too, I mean, I don't know whether to accept it or be scared of it. I'm being told that it's quote unquote probably a bad thing, but I can't. I don't know that. I don't have any reason to believe it's good or bad. But I mean, just uncertainty, I guess.
Stephen, this is Byron LeBeau, and I just have one quick question. You mentioned that you couldn't recognize it either as an airplane, helicopter, or even a distant star that might be flickering, and then you said that you got chills up your spine. Now, can you be very specific as to what exactly was causing the chills? Is there anything that you either saw or felt that was creating this experience within you?
Well, it was very hard to look away from the thing. First of all, very very hypnotic. The pulsing light, and I'm not sure. Well, it was. I remember thinking this is weird and this is it's very eerie, but I don't think, and I don't know if I ever really got scared, but definitely when I saw Greg's reaction to it, that definitely. I don't know how to put it. I guess concerned me a little more, and then I don't know. Then it really started to bother me.
Okay, now let me follow up on that one point about the hypnotic part of it. Was it the light that was causing the hypnosis, or was it something else that was causing you to be drawn in?
It's hard to say if it's because of the light. I mean, it's or because it's something unknown that I've never seen before. That keeps my attention, but it was definitely hard to look away. And at one point, I picked the camera up and I zoomed in on it to try to get a closer look at it. And Greg grabbed my arm and moved the camera away and told me not to look at it.
Oh, okay. But before Greg did that, did you notice anything about the lights, whether they were intense or pulsating or blinking, or was there anything different than other lights you've seen in the sky?
It was unlike any other lights I've seen in the sky.
And what makes you say that?
It was just the fact that it looked kind of like a star, but it was clearly so close, and the flashing colors. I mean, the primary colors, red, green, blue.